the abstraction to life, makes it real for the people who are listening.
The guideposts for any presentation, from small to large, from intimate to formal, from supervisor to CEO, are easy, apt, and real. So keep the EAR acronym in mind as you watch a highly skilled team take us through the 3 phases every presentation must go through in order to succeed. Prepare, practice, and present, the 3 Ps of any good presentation.
Allen & Gerritsen.
Allen & Gerritsen is an advertising agency in Boston, Massachusetts. Paul Allen is the president. Pete Gerritsen is the creative director. They agreed to let FYI follow them as they prepare and present to their client, the Colonnade Hotel.
Presentations are not only important to an advertising agency, they are what we do. Virtually every meeting we have is a presentation. We start out by saying, what do we want to have happen? What do we want to accomplish in this particular presentation? One of the tricks in properly preparing for something like this is to gather enough information and look at it, enough data so you can begin to see patterns and draw conclusions and start to gain direction in terms of how you want to do business. So we're looking for a focus. We're looking for a single point on which to position the property, on which to focus all our efforts, and greatly to help the hotel focus their efforts in the way they operate the business as well. So we would rather have more information from which to call our directions than less. It's just safer and smarter. Coming up with an approach for our presentation. We'll usually have some sort of a strategic brainstorming session where myself or somebody else from the company will analyze the information, draw some conclusions, and put them in front of everybody in the room.
But they still go to a restaurant, and they still, I mean, they're staying in the hotel, they're still going to eat there. So that's the case.
The name thing would be difficult
Also, going
crossing businesses.
What we're really looking for as a result of marrying the client's objectives to all the data we've gathered is what we call a positioning statement or a clear focus for the client's business. And we take a great deal of care and time in making sure it reflects what we think it needs to reflect. It will guide creative, it will guide media, it will guide budget planning, it will guide virtually every aspect of the presentation and our recommendations for the client.
They have a duck in all the tubs, and I thought that was the greatest thing in the whole world.
Let's talk about this duck thing for a second. I know it sounds a little ludicrous, but you know, someone mentioned small.
It's very different.
It's been there for a while. Is this something new in the hotel?
I don't think it's that new, but it's only been done on a limited basis. I think in some, you know, in just the very high-end suites or something. But why couldn't they do it in every room? In addition to the presentation of those creative ideas, we'll often use other devices that may not be used in advertising to just bring those ideas to life in a meeting, whether they're props or toys or something like that.
Jackie, is a big box come in from the Colonnade? We're waiting for a box of the ducks.
No, are they live ducks?
Yeah. No. Paul makes the presentation very easy for our clients to understand who we are, what the subject matter is, and in a real ease and comfort for the creative to be presented. The work is...
Hey, Pete, the ducks are here.
Oh, excuse me, I gotta go. Oh, there's a lot of them.
It's a lot of ducks. But hopefully one will do the trick.
We have a lot of friends we can give
if it doesn't work,
it's
your idea. We carefully rehearse the process, and we carefully look for those salient points that are critical to the building process and each person's role in the meeting. So rehearsal is critical to the extent that 1, everything flows in its proper order. 2, it flows within the given time frames that we've been allotted for the meeting. And 3, that presentation points being given by our staff are made. And I think we should just get into it, and we'll use the boards as they're laid up here. And good homework says you always check with the clients, the audience ahead of time, and find out exactly how much time you do have for the meeting. By letting the client know exactly what we want to do with them. Our rehearsals are really designed to fine-tune the presentation to go as clockwork, so it is not simply a run-through. We are rehearsing to, for lack of better words, perfect a performance.
The Allen & Gerritsen team put a lot of energy into the first 2 phases of successful presenting by preparing and practicing. During the preparation phase, they discovered and addressed their clients' needs, and then, through extensive research and brainstorming, they developed their main point into a clear and succinct positioning statement, which will serve as the theme of their ad campaign. They'll state this up front and reinforce this theme throughout the presentation, making it easy for their clients to grasp. They'll also focus on the benefit of this approach and in so doing, make their message apt. As to whether they succeed in making their presentation real, we'll see for ourselves when they deliver it at the Colonnade Hotel. But first, let's look at the organization of the presentation. Both the theme and benefit will be presented in the open. But what goes into the central portion or body of a presentation? Manny?
Data, facts, information, evidence, arguments, something to support your main point, to make it credible, to make it clear, to make it comprehensible to the people who are listening to you.
Ted, what about using visuals to support your point?
My feeling is that you should put the presentation together first, and that it should stand all by itself without any visual support. Then you go back and you look at it and you say, now where can I add visuals to help my audience?
Okay. How about the close, Manny?
Your conclusion can be quite short because you simply want to restate your theme, restate your benefit, and take some time to make your action statement, your plea for the audience's next step, to be persuasive, to be powerful, to make it compelling.
Once you've drafted your open, body, and close, you're ready to practice. We suggest that you use 3x5 cards with keywords or phrases that remind you of each segment of the presentation. The point is not to read word for word, but to use the notes as a reminder if you need to. Ted, what else can you tell us about the practice phase?
If you can set up a dry run, and I strongly recommend you try to do it this way, you try to simulate the circumstances under which you'll actually be giving the presentation. The room, the size of the room, the way it's going to be set up, the visuals you're going to use, if you're going to use a microphone or not, etc. Then you try to have some of your colleagues or friends or whomever you can capture to come into that room and be part of that audience and role play the kind of environment you expect to be stepping into.
What kind of feedback would be most helpful?
Can you hear me? Am I in the way? You know, am I blocking my own visuals? Have I explained that carefully? Did I give you enough examples or analogies? Am I going too fast? Am I coming on too strong? There are all kinds of things that your audience can give you in this dry run, all kinds of feedback.
Now let's return to the advertising agency and the final phase of presenting, the actual delivery. Let's see if they win the account. A lot will depend on how real they are, on their ability to engage their clients and transfer their enthusiasm for their proposal.
I think one of the important skills in properly presenting is adjusting your style to the personality and the tone of the people you're dealing with. Hi, Dan. How you doing? How are you? Good. Good to see you. Dan Little, from a personality standpoint, is relatively light, easy to get along with, kind of comfortable personality who likes to get to it and move on with it. Okay. Let's take a look at the room here. MK, did you bring those pads? When you're going to present to somebody, you have to consider the environment that you're going to present in, which is, more simply put, the room, the setting that you're going to be making your presentation in. And you should be aware ahead of time of the nature of the room, the lighting, any audio-visual equipment, the shape of the table.